Do you know that aside from the deep sea, caves represent the last remaining unexplored frontier on Earth? Like it or not, the Earth is covered in a web-like network of caves filled with unusual creatures that would leave you with goosebumps and reflecting on how these things are trapped in the natural void. From the skulls smoothed into drinking cups in the massive cave system in Somerset to every other underground passage that is spooky, here are the top 10 strangest things found in caves. Let's get started. The Skull Cup, England. The Skull Cup was discovered in Gough Cave in Somerset, England. This cave was famous for containing the Cheddar Man, the oldest complete human skeleton. Discovered in 1892 by Richard Gough, the 377-foot cave holds darker remains of ancient humans, including children numbering 5 to 7, whose skulls were smoothed into drinking cups. The Fantastic Pit, USA. Do you have a phobia for deep pits? While it seems scary to you, it's fun for some people. The Fantastic Pit is the deepest cave drop in the continental United States, plunging vertically for 586 feet in Ellison's Cave, the 12th deepest cave in the United States. The pit is not for beginner cavers due to the cramped space and other obstructions to maneuver. Therefore, only experienced spelunkers are encouraged to tackle the dark Fantastic Pit. The Cagayan Fire Mummies, Philippines. About 1,500 years ago, some indigenous Filipinos reported constructing the region stumbled on what appeared to be enormous walnuts filled with corpses in the town of Cagayan, which were later found to be fire mummies. In a unique method of mummification, the fire mummies located in many caves in the area, including Timbuk, Bungao, Tanangcha, Nape, and Optus, were toasted over flames. At the same time, their lungs were filled with tobacco smoke. The remains of this strange discovery have given scientists an insight into the unique mummification process of the tribal people who engaged in those methods. The Hobbits, Indonesia. In 2003, archaeologists discovered one of the strangest things in the Liang Bua caves in Florence, Indonesia. The scientific community was stunned to find human bones that clearly belonged to adults, but with a full foot smaller than the smallest African pygmies. The anthropologists believed the excavations were relatives of Homo sapiens even though they stood around 3.5 feet tall. They further assumed that their diminutive stature could have resulted from a disease that left them the size of hobbits. The 100-year-old axe murderer, USA. In 1916, the authorities of the United States brought a man named Joseph Henry Loveless to jail for the suspicious murder of Agnes, his wife, with an axe. Later, it was reported that Loveless escaped jail using the blade he had hidden in his shoe. So, where did he escape to? Nobody knew until 1979, when his grisly dismembered parts were discovered by strangers in Buffalo Cave, Idaho. The discovery of Loveless's remains could be described as a protracted discovery. First, an unidentified torso was found, followed by a beheaded and other parts left to decay in a burlap sack. Then, 12 years later, a matching hand was found, followed by both legs and one arm. A DNA test on Loveless's son clarified that it was the escaped murderer suspect, Joseph Henry Loveless. The cause of his death is still unknown, but some speculate that Agnes's family found Loveless and got their revenge. The crystallized human sacrifice, Belize. Octong Tunichnil Muknal is a famous archaeological site in Belize that has yielded stunning Mayan artifacts. The amazing discovery within the walls is translated as the Cave of the Crystal Sepulchre. The cave is a hidden mystery littered with human skeletons, ceremonial artifacts, and decorations. Archaeologists said that the cave was clearly a site for the ritual sacrifice of people ranging in age from 1 to around 40, some exhibiting skull shaping. The strangest was the remains of a 17-year-old boy known as the Crystal Maiden, which was hypothesized in his vertebrae smashed when he died slowly and painfully. The King of the Cave, Romania. A centipede named Cryptops speleorax has been discovered by researchers in the Movile Cave in Romania. The cave sits over 20 meters below the surface and is warm and thick with toxic gases, which feed chemosynthetic bacteria. Despite these seemingly hellish conditions, the Mobile Cave, described as fraught with danger by researchers, still hosts a diverse community of spiders, scorpions, and other arthropods, along with snails, earthworms, and cave leeches. Researchers describe the king of the cave as the biggest invertebrate predator with a brownish-yellow body, pale yellow antenna, and studded yellow legs with 13 to 17 saw teeth. The strangest thing about the Cryptops speleorex was that it snacks on primitive insects, spiders, beetles, and isopods, shrimp-like crustaceans, to survive. The confusing giant bone, China. In southern China's Panjian Dadong caverns, some archaeologists have found the remains of more than 40 different prehistoric mammal species, most of which are large herbivores and pack animals. Among the thousands of bones found by archaeologists are ancient rhinoceroses, stegodons, and gigantopithecus. The only road leading to the cave is a steep rock wall 1,600 feet above the ground. Also found were many exhibited traces of human manipulation, such as burning and chopping, indicating that prehistoric humans made the stockpile. So, the big question is, how did our ancestors battle these scary creatures with just a bow and arrow? The miniature coffins, Scotland. In 1836, a group of boys exploring Arthur's Seat in Scotland found one of the strangest stuff they never would have thought of in a little cave while on their adventure. The cave, which was shut with a few pieces of slate, was cracked open by the boys, and guess what? They stumbled on 17 miniature coffins with figures neatly dressed in little handmade clothes, then nestled inside the coffins. While many had cried witchcraft, demonology, and black magic, it's now assumed that the 27 coffins were a tribute to the 17 victims of notorious body snatchers William Burke and William Hare. Who made them? Was it truly a tribute to Burke and Hare's victims? Unfortunately, it's likely we'll never know. The stalagmite structures, France. Over 400 stalagmites were found beautifully stacked to complete the walls of two circular structures in a cave about 30 miles away from Toulouse in South France. The stalagmite structures, which took researchers years to discover in 1992, eventually were 1,102 feet deep in the cave. The circle-shaped ring measured 7 feet in diameter, and the oval shape was about 15 feet wide and 22 feet long. The most stunning was that the rings were fired, which gave anthropologists a different view of the constructing skills of Neanderthals. Wow! Would you still want to visit a cave despite all the strangest stuff? Let us know in the comments section below. And also, don't forget to check out our other fascinating content popping up right now on the left and right side of your screen. See ya!